ministry, church, of course, what's going on in politics, what's going on in the world, and try to talk to you about it from a biblical perspective. What is God saying to us? Trying to discern the times, discern the seasons, and what the Lord is doing. Please do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe. Tell somebody that we're on today. Tag somebody. Get somebody on to On Point today as we discuss some very pertinent topics. And we would love for you to chime in online. I'm going to try to talk to y'all and talk to people on the phone and do the messages online. But either way, we're just glad that you are joining us today. And please do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Of course, if you're watching, we'd love for you to give us a call, 866-743-8267. Again, 866-743-8267. Give us a call. We would love to hear from you this morning as we talk about some very good topics. We're believing God with you and for you for great things. We're praying for all of you also. If you have any prayer requests, do us a favor and you can send your prayer requests to prayer@gotobethany.com. Again, that is prayer@gotobethany.com. We would love to pray with you, pray for you, and trust and believe that God is still doing a great work in your life. We welcome our YouTube family. For those in the booth, I'm trying to do three things at once. I don't see us live on Facebook for some reason, so if somebody can get that worked out. I don't see the Facebook video. I see us on YouTube, but not on Facebook. Anywho, do us a favor again. Give us a call, 866-743-8267. Again, 866-743-8267. Was thinking about something this week, and I'm going to try to say this as practical as possible, but also with a lot of grace. I think that as we are in a society, we have had an issue at times, I believe, with only thinking about the self. And a part of that, I believe, is that, if I can say this, we've somewhat coddled generations, and where they think everything just revolves around them, and haven't given them the tools to be able to manage the challenges of life. And don't get me wrong, life's challenges will hit you, impact you. And the goal of those challenges aren't to shrink us down. The goal of those challenges is to build us up, to help us grow, to refine us, to make us, and to shape us. And it's important for us to make sure that we are raising up a generation, a culture of people that can manage the stresses that come on with life. I'm not saying that you won't get overwhelmed. I'm not saying that you won't ever experience, struggles that will feel like they're too much for you to handle, because you absolutely will. We all will. But in those moments, that's when we reach out to God, ask for his help, and allow him to shape us, make us, to develop us as people, as individuals, as Christians, where we draw closer to God. And, because life can be hard at times. I'm not saying every day is a challenge, but life has challenges to it. And our thing is, are we going to adapt? Are we going to thrive? And that's not always easy. Sometimes it is hard to thrive. It's hard to make those adjustments, but it is necessary to do so, to make those changes, to submit to what's going on in the process, to allow it to make you better rather than make you bitter. So we know what the problem is. Now the question is, what am I going to do about it? I know what the issue is, but now the question is, how are me and God going to get together and let this work together for my benefit, for my good? Because at the end of the day, we can't fix everything, we can't change everything, but what we can do is learn how to develop, grow, adapt to to what's going on. We're in some challenging times, and for a lot of us, we just all have to ask the question, what am I going to do in this? I can't control everything, but what I can do is control me, and I can control my response to everything. I can learn to let this work for my benefit, or I can learn to let this work to my detriment. I was reading something this morning in this daily scripture thing that I read, and I was going through Psalm 37, and one of the things that highlighted to me was, don't fret, but learn to rest. We all have to learn to rest. Rest doesn't mean that it won't get disturbed, but rest meaning learning not to allow worry to get the best of you, not allow fretting and, discouragement to take hold of you, where you can have the feeling, but the feeling doesn't have you. You may feel it, but it does not have you. It's not consuming you. It's not overwhelming you. And when it feels like it is, again, reach up to God. Tell God about it. Tell him the truth. That's why there's Psalms of Lament. Tell God the truth about what's going on so you can start to process and work through those things. And by faith, we process our feelings. We don't deny them. But at the end of the day, we learn to find some rest where we don't fret, where we trust in God, where we trust in the kingdom more than we trust what's going on around us. You need to know that God has you, he's for you, and all will be well. One of the things I love about Job's story is the only person that was on Job's side in the text was God. And I want you to know that God is on your side. Even when you want to quit and feel like he's not on your side, God is on your side. And, if you believe that, tell yourself that every single day. Encourage somebody in the comment section. God is on my side. He is on your side. And we're trusting and believing that through all that's going on in the world, that our hope is in the kingdom of God. It doesn't mean we won't feel things. It doesn't mean we won't see atrocities in the world and feel some type of way about it. But we'll learn how to navigate it, learn how to work through it, learn how to process it by faith and believe in the kingdom of God. This year, our theme is advancing and reinforcing the kingdom, God's ways, God's methods. And we see that the kingdom of God is with us, it's present. And one of the biblical examples of this is when Israel was in Egypt. The Bible talks about how when the plagues came, some of the plagues affected Israel and Egypt. And then halfway through, I think it's like halfway through, the plagues only touched Egypt. And the nation of Israel in Goshen were just fine. It was dark in Egypt, but there was light in Goshen. And God can and will make a distinction. Not for our superiority, but God will make a distinction to show that he cares for his people and invites others to come in, because in the kingdom of God is where you want to be, in God's ways and God's methods. You want to be in God's systems and God's structures, because Psalm 146 tells us that our King, he reigns forever. He reigns forever and ever and ever, and he still sits on the throne. And I want to remind you that today, to be encouraged, God still reigns. And every kingdom will pass away, but him and his kingdom will not pass away. It will remain forever. These are seasons of faith and trust, seasons of refining, seasons of believing that God is able and he is willing, and that no matter what goes on in the world, he is still God. He is still good, and he keeps his promises. God has you, and we believe God for you today. So please do us a favor. Hope you all enjoyed that and received that. Give us a call at 866-743-8267. Again, 866-743-8267. All right. We are looking through some more things this week. The courts will continue to allow government layoffs. They blocked them at one point, and now they are allowing the Trump administration to continue these layoffs. And, to me, I think we're a country of platitudes, and we do little side things, these small things, to excuse the big things. So they're trying to, and I'm all for, trying to make sure the deficit is taken care of, balancing the budget, doing all that. But the things that they're trying to cut and work on are like 1% of the budget. They're small items in the grand scheme of things. That's just like a large corporation saying, hey, y'all, we need to save some money. And, let's cut back on paper clips and pencils. It's something, but it's no way going to put a dent on what's going on. So these layoffs are happening all across the federal government. And my challenge is that if people aren't working and you're laying all these people off, they can't pay their bills. They'll find it hard to take care of themselves. So how does their loss of job impact the economy? How does that loss of job impact the bottom line? So they're trying to lay off people from IRS, I know the CIA, and all across different places, probationary employees. They claim they care about the vets, but a lot of these people are veterans losing their jobs. Just yesterday, they fired the head general in charge, and we're seeing these things, and people are like, oh, we're cutting back the fat, oh, we're cleaning the house and doing all this stuff, but they're really not cleaning up the big stuff. Again, it's just little symbols, little signs to try to prove a point, but also to be somewhat cruel at the same time too. So we pray for all those people who are losing their jobs, and for those who took. Here's the interesting thing: those who took the employee buyout, it had a catch to it, of course. It means that, so they say you can take the buyout now, we'll pay you up until September. The problem is that if the government decides to stop paying the salary, they can do that, and the individuals can't sue because once they resign, they had to sign a waiver removing their legal rights when they resign. So if they wanted to, by next month, they can just say, hey, we're not going to pay you anymore. I know we said September, but we're done. There's nothing they can do. So it's just troubling to me how this lack of care for people is such on display. And the other thing, and I know I'm ranting here, is that we used to know that some of this stuff happened in private. Now it's happening on full display for the world to see, and people just don't care. There are people that do care, of course, but there's segments of people that think this is fine. But the reality is that if we claim to be a Christian nation, which we're not, which America has never been a Christian nation. We need to stop lying about that. It's never been one. A lot of the founding fathers were deists. They believed in God, all right, but doesn't necessarily mean that, they believed in all other stuff. So the scripture tells us, and I was thinking about this on the way in, about Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, we know, short guy. Jesus comes in, he runs up the tree. Jesus sees him. Zacchaeus invites him in the house. And Zacchaeus' first thing is, if I extorted anybody, I'm going to make it right. If I did such and such on somebody, I'm going to make it right. And Jesus says, salvation has come to your house. And notice Zacchaeus, he wanted to be with Jesus, but he also saw a part of him joining and connecting to Jesus was his ability to treat people right. You can't mistreat people and think you're going to be fine with God. If you hate your brother, how can you love your God? So a true Christian nation will love God and love their neighbor. A true Christian nation, a true church, God's true people will love God and love their neighbor. And that loving for neighbor is caring for your neighbor. And I'm not saying we have to support every little thing, but expressing some care and concern. The love that we would desire to have, we learn to love others that same way. But it feels like a lot of things are just about us and how we feel and how we see it, rather than the true scriptural mandate of caring for the other. And Jesus spent the majority of his ministry out with those on the edge, on the outside, those who are oppressed and those who are struggling, those who were cast away. He spent a lot of time with them, empowering them, a lot of time with women, empowering them. But it feels like some of these things that are being put in place are at the expense of those people who Jesus would be spending the most of his time with. So I just think that, people lose their jobs, and it's never a good thing. They're running around and they get fired for other reasons. We understand that, but just to come in and just start making all these cuts and cuts and cuts, especially those who just started working and now, or on probationary period, and now they're gone, and now they're firing people from the IRS. They're doing all that stuff for a number of reasons, of course. But it's just something to me how a lot of this stuff is taking little pieces from here, that are 1% of the budget, less than 1%, 2%, but leaving the big stuff alone, right? Because that's where other things happen. But give us a call, 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. A judge also temporarily blocked Trump's DEI restrictions. So the judge is gonna allow some of those grants to go through that were promised. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know what's going to happen with this, but a lot of these things are going to the courts, and they're going to work those things out. The tariffs on Mexico and Canada have paused for 30 days to be able to work all this stuff out. I just saw something today with the president of Mexico. This morning, she said, if y'all want to stop the cartels, then we need to stop a lot of those people who are giving guns to the cartel, funding guns, which is the U.S. So this whole thing is going to be something with this whole trade war, this whole tariffs thing. But to me, if you have allies and you have friends, Canada, Mexico knows, we try to work through things the right way rather than trying to muscle our way and have our way and alienate ourselves. American pride. I appreciate America, even though it has its sides to it that I don't appreciate. But I don't think it's right for us to have that arrogance to feel like we're the greatest of all time and the greatest ever, and we can do what we want to people, and they have to take it because we're American. Let me stop before I get myself in trouble. I don't flow with that. Great country, I believe, that has a lot of growth still. But we need to make sure, I believe, as people who claim to be a Christian nation, to exemplify the heart of God for the world. But there's a whole backstory behind that, which we don't have time to go through today. Again, give us a call at 866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. And Tom is on line one. Tom, how you doing, man?
Good morning. How you doing, Pastor Nick?
I'm good. How you feeling? What's up?
Pastor Nick, you're talking about all these people being fired.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this thing you're talking about. The last time we had a balanced budget was under Clinton,
mm-hmm.
and he had to work with Newt Gingrich to
Yep.
get it. Took a lot of work. Wasn't easy.
Mm-hmm.
But what you were talking about, not just people losing their jobs, but the FAA.
Yep.
I mean, you talk about people who fly.
Mm-hmm.
That's us.
Yep.
You talk about CDC.
Mm-hmm.
If something breaks out, he's letting these people go.
Yep. Consumer affairs. Those people. Yep.
The inspector generals who supposedly keep their eye on all the things he says he's watching.
Mm-hmm.
IRS, it's that time of year. You think, hey, maybe they want to cut. But right now, how about wait until September to let them go?
Yeah. But a lot of those were, from what I'm reading, I could be wrong, you can help me out here, were helping with some audits.
Yes.
So those people who in
he
that
has a
situation.
personal vendetta against people or institutions, and he will. I'll give you another for instance. They're talking about recently how he loves Putin, but Lewinsky he can't stand.
Yeah.
And it comes out in his policies. I saw this thing actually last night where Senator from North Carolina, Tom Tillis, he started off with his conversation praising Trump, which you need to do if you're a Republican, but then he laid it out. He said that Putin is a disgusting, a dictator. He went through the whole bit. He goes, no way did Ukraine start the war. We have to watch what's going on. And a lot of people are being silent on this. But he actually said they started the war. This guy is taking things. He wants to blow up the G7. I'm just wondering, when are they going to stop him, or are they?
From what the reports are, there's a portion of what I'll call classic Republicans who are afraid to stand up because they're afraid of their constituents and losing their seat come election time. But they took him in because they saw that he was going to be their ticket to help them win. But the problem is, like, what's the guy that created Frankenstein? Once you
Dr. Frankenstein?
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, once you create it, you can't control it.
Correct.
So, and that's one of the challenges. And like you hear Mitch McConnell, what was it last week, who was saying that the tariffs would hurt the people in his state, but you did all this stuff to help empower this individual, and now you're upset because, it's affecting you. But here's my problem. Why does it have to affect you for you to start to care? If you see it affect everybody else and you don't care, I have a, you know what I'm saying? It shouldn't have to hit your door for you to finally care. Something's wrong with that.
Yeah, it's over there, so I don't see what's going on.
Yep.
Even something else with Mitch McConnell. He's the only one that voted against any of these cabinet picks. Like, I thought no way the Secretary of Defense was going to be picked, or Kennedy. But McConnell's the only negative Republican who's actually, and he's on his way out.
Yeah, he's on his way out, yeah.
Yeah, he's old enough to where he can barely know what's going on. But number two is he's leaving after this term, so he doesn't care if he's getting reelected.
Yep.
But you think that nobody, they stood up when they were doing the hearings, but when it came down to the vote, all these wackos are in place to do whatever, Trump is, it's almost mind-boggling.
Yep. I was telling somebody yesterday, they were, I hear all this stuff about RFK. He's going to help eliminate processed food and all this junk food and blah, 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 blah. And I said two things. You remember when Michelle Obama wanted healthier foods in schools. You remember that plan she had, right?
Yes.
Conservatives were up in the air. We got freedoms. We can eat what we want to eat. Don't tell us what to eat. We're going to eat chips and drink soda, even though it's bad because we're Americans. You can't tell us what to eat. Now RFK is in. Oh, he's going to make everything healthier. That's number one, contradiction. Number two, I was like, if you actually think that America is going to eliminate all this bad food, they're making too much money. I believe it when I see it.
If there's enough money involved, they will get rid of him before they get rid of the food.
Exactly. The stuff that's banned in Europe that's allowed here, they did the red dye thing. People think it's red dye and all. It's only one of the red dyes. There's multiple red dyes that are, that they're still going to use to make stuff. So it's too much money involved in this process. But did you hear about what an RFK said about black people in their our genetics and vaccines?
No. Elaborate.
You didn't hear about that?
No, I gotta look that one up.
So look it up, y'all. So during his hearings, they were talking about the vaccine schedule, and he was saying how black people, in essence, I'm paraphrasing here, you can watch the whole video, don't need vaccines like others because our genetics have this certain thing where we don't need them. So the black woman who's a congressperson is like, so you mean to tell me that you want basically us, me, people like me, to not get the necessary vaccines because to you, with no research, we got this special thing where we don't need them? I said, go YouTube it. I was like not surprised, but at the same time, like seriously, out in the open, you're going to say this?
If his name were not Kennedy, he would not even have been elected to office, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when the guy speaks, it's almost incoherent, half the stuff that's coming out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. And, and it looks like we're doing the bully pulpit with our president. Now, Pastor Nick, I got to leave you with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Down here, and this is where Democrats are falling behind. One thing, when I look at Chuck Schumer,
mm-hmm.
I get mad.
Okay.
Because he's like sounding these whistles, and he sounds like this. He sounds like Mitch McConnell just on the other side.
Sure.
He's been there too long himself, and we need some fresh blood to get us fired up. But I heard our governor here say something, and I know people aren't picking up on it, or at least people who should. He said that he's invoking this law that's been around since the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It gives police more power to search or go after you if you are an illegal immigrant status.
Okay.
But the way he worded it, because this law has been on the books since the 90s, and Biden has not effectively used it.
Mm-hmm.
So I am implementing it. Well, he's been in office for 7 years, and the law has been there, and he didn't implement it.
Right.
So what he's saying is Biden didn't implement, but neither did he. It's a law that could be done even at the state level.
Mm-hmm.
And people are hearing like Biden's problem when it's like you were in control also, and you did nothing about it. And that's the problem, I think, with our Democrats not pointing out the shortcomings where Republicans are on top of this stuff.
They are. Their messaging is great.
Exactly.
Their message is great. And like Trump going to the Super Bowl, him going to the Daytona 500, I think it was one of the races he went to. I think it was Daytona.
It was it's supposed to cost millions of dollars, and he rode around the track.
Yes.
And
I thought we were supposed to be saving money.
Yeah, like you said, it was $20 million
mm-hmm.
when we go to the Super Bowl
for an hour.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. He's a master marketer. He knows where he knows how to put himself in those positions to show this image, and people are going to celebrate it no matter what. I remember when Obama would go on vacation. Oh, you're wasting government funds, and Biden go on vacation. You're wasting government money. But when they go on vacation every week, or they go, to their homes every week, it's like nope, there's no issue. At least
check.
Yeah, I mean, at least
Trump has spent more time out of the White House than any other modern day president.
Yep. At least be honest with your contradiction. I don't like this person, so yes, it's wrong for them, but don't try to make a bunch of excuses up. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. How's everything? Oh, did you hear about, is it true that since DeSantis is up in 2026, that his wife might make a run?
That's not a rumor.
Okay.
That's big down here.
Okay.
And the scary part is, supposedly, she is the brains behind the operation anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, she used to be a newscaster. So she used to be an anchor lady down here.
Oh, interesting.
She ain't no dummy.
Okay.
I think she may be just as scary. But also we have our black congressman who says he's going to run, which, because he didn't get a spot in the Trump White House. But
Donaldson?
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought he was from North Carolina. He's not going to win.
Yeah. So
I don't think he's going to win.
I agree.
Wow.
Well, Pastor Nick.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tell you that. But yeah, you got to come down and visit. Sunny Florida. I'll show you around.
Sure. I haven't been to Florida in years. If I ever make my way down there, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, and you know what?
It can't be during the summertime. It's too hot down there.
Oh, it's got to be doing.
It's too hot down
this time of year. And one other thing too, I've never hooked up with the other call-ins from down here, but we're pretty close to each other.
Okay.
I got to find one of these days. I'm going to physically find out where they are.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've been talking on the side. Me and Bishop will talk some more about some stuff for down there too.
Okay.
We'll get back to you.
All right.
All right, man. No problem. I'll talk to you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. That was Tom from Fort Lauderdale. Give us a call at 866-743-8267. Again, 866-743-8267. Give us a call about how you feel the administration's going along, what's going on in our country, the kingdom of God, any topic. Give us a call at 866-743-8267. I know there's a big hoopla over Elon Musk and the Doge, however you say it, having access to the Treasury Department payment systems. And they're going back and forth because their thing is, why are we giving a private citizen this much access to our information? And Musk, he put out, he's like, hey, I used to own PayPal. I believe he owned PayPal or was a part of it. And he's already had your information. But this is still interesting how a private citizen over a certain agency I think they did reverse it, will be able to have access to Treasury Department stuff. This is going to be interesting. Trump signed some more executive orders, expanding the federal funding for school choice. So now they want to bump up the school choice piece. I know New Jersey has school choice here, where a child can go to a different school outside of their district if they wanted to. And also, here's the thing that gets me, defunding schools that quote unquote indoctrinate kids. And this whole thing about DEI and different teachings and all that, is so left up to interpretation that if we don't like you teaching about this part of Black history, we can pull your funding. And when they had the Linda McMahon, who is up for her hearing for Department of Education, they asked her that question. What would you do when if you found out the college or school was teaching on, something that you didn't agree with? Would you pull the funding? And of course it was, we don't know, we'll see what happens. It's so left up to interpretation. So if they don't like what's being taught, even though it may be the truth, they're looking to be able to defund these schools, take their money away, because I was talking to somebody yesterday about we for some reason we try to continue the American lie, and try to paint our past in a way that it's not totally true. What do they say, that history is written by the victors? And usually from the victor's perspective, we're this, we're that. It goes back to that parable of we always hear the story from the hunter, but we never hear the story from the lion, or the prey. But if we got to hear the story from the flip side, the story of America will be a little different, opposed to the one that they want us to believe that's not actually the truth. But to me, why can't we just call it down the line? This is what happened, good and bad. And America has had atrocities as well as good things. Why can't we just tell the truth? But if you don't want to admit what happened because you feel like it diminishes our perception as a country, you not wanting to admit it doesn't mean it didn't happen. But I think for a lot of them, their hope is that if we tell the story differently enough, it'll go away. But I don't think history vindicates itself after a while. It may take a long time, but history and time is a vindicator. You just have to be patient enough to let it happen. So it's just an interesting time. The Wisconsin Supreme Court will allow state elections commissioner to keep her job. They're continuing to try to work through those election commissioners who didn't dispute the 2020 election, and they're trying to get people in that they know will agree with them. It just looks like a heist in plain sight, to be honest with you. That's what it looks like to a certain degree. But again, give us a call, 866-743-8267. We are going to Ty on line 1. Ty, how are you?
What's going on, Pastor Shane?
What's
how
up?
you doing today?
I'm okay.
You by yourself?
This is why I talk to your daughter first instead of you.
See what I'm saying? Because they let you out first. I'm just saying, oh, Lord, they got him by himself?
Yes, I'm by myself this week, yes.
Look, I'm fired up. It's so much stuff going on.
I know.
It is so much stuff going on. I want to know if you heard, did you hear of what our girl, Rep Crockett did at the, Lord have mercy, why I can't get my thoughts right. Did you hear what Rep Crockett did at the hearing last week?
No.
She put out a term that I think that's going to ring for a minute. You know, she's the one bleached body, darn, you know.
Yeah.
So she put out the thing. She's the one for the one-liners. She says that it's about this musketeers that are happening. These musketeers being, playing with turn. How 45, we don't say his name in the house, but 45 is allowing them to not only get access to our funds, not only be able to tell just how much money we own in our account, not only being able to control the revenue, not only to be able to take over the IRS, but he has also profited and received close to $1 billion in a week. So he's able to count our money and move our funds. Good morning. He's able to count our money and move our funds, but is receiving funds. $300 million he received to use Tesla cars as the government's protective vehicles, and another $400 million to run the platforms. So almost close to $1 billion he's received in a week, but cut all of the funding. I was so annoyed to hear, it was in the talks, about General Brown. General Brown, the head of the armed forces, who 45 actually endorsed. He's the one that put him in office, which was surprising. But that headset, that got in through the cabinet, he literally said that General Brown is the first of the most of our community, biggest DEI hire.
Wow.
So because he feels that he's and we all know, Bishop already said it, he broke it down for us, we only receive it, we're seventh. We're not the first that receives it. Yep. So we trickle down, right? So he decided to live it. He got fired yesterday. General Brown, and 45 has placed another man in charge that is a majority of the skin color. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Another man in charge who is a 3-star general. General Brown is a 4-star plus. He has served over war. He has controlled the armed forces. He has done his time plus.
Yep.
And my brother he works at the Pentagon, and he has served over 35 years. And so he's good. But I'm praying for our armed forces because like never before, all of our government, there was a lady here in Philly that I work with. She just gave birth to her baby. She works for the IRS. Literally, as she's coming home with the baby, she got the pink slip.
Wow.
She just gave birth.
Wow.
It's like never before these cuts. Jobs that you just knew would give you coverage for a lifetime, right? Secure, essential jobs. IRS. Now the measles is breaking out in Texas. We got the quad the quad pandemic here going on in Pennsylvania and in Jersey. Like never before things because they've just been cut. And how he fired the people that are in charge of armed forces and then had to realize that he fired the wrong people. So had to call them back, but couldn't because they ain't had the right emails or contact information for him.
I didn't hear about that.
Yes, the people that are in charge of the weapons and maintaining how much weapons comes into our country, he realized, oh, wait, I can't fire them, right? Because that's security.
Yeah.
So we got to can we send them a slip and say it was a mistake? Can we get them back? Oh, but we can't contact them. Like, what in the world is happening? Like, it's just things that are happening out of control that we just never really thought. And we believed it because we saw it, right? We saw it in Project 2025, so we saw it. But it's coming to pass, and now everybody is now starting, oh, I got to change. He's hitting me now. He's affecting me. They literally picked up people in Kennett Square yesterday just because they were Hispanic, and now the word is out for our Hispanic friends and family members not to answer your door.
Yep.
So if you don't answer your door, they can't come in. But now they're popping up at your business. So now they're going to tire shops and garages to pick you up. So it's like y'all didn't see it and believe it, and we tried to tell our Hispanic brothers and sisters, like, okay, y'all got that Venezuelans for 45, and now y'all see now y'all can believe what we were telling you. That was coming to pass. Last thing I wanted to say is everybody was in talk about, or it's been mumbles about the 228 blackout, boycott, how we're not supposed to do this and do that. And I've been passing it along through our Faith Planet Super Church team members, and we've been discussing little things, how there's a more effective way, a more pragmatic and more lasting effect, because it's already happening with Tarjay. I shared as a stakeholder what's going on. So it's happening. But in order to continue, it has to be longer than just that one day next week. We got to be more. So there's a more strategic calendar that I emailed you and Bishop that I think is a more lasting effect of change. It is a more prolonged, and it's segmented by the months and how to take things. You boycott this particular location for a month, and then you jump to the next one.
Okay.
And you hit them during their peak seasons. For instance, when Amazon has that Prime Day in the middle of July, you wouldn't buy from Amazon at that period. So but you continue to do so. It's one in August, September, and it goes throughout the year per month. How we can continue to be wise about a boycott so it's a lasting effect. We know the bus boycott lasted for 381 days.
But see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Can you hold out long enough? Because they'll let you boycott for one day all you want to, because they know you're going to come back tomorrow.
Exactly.
They're like, okay, cool. We took a dip today. You'll be back tomorrow.
Exactly.
Can you do this for the long term?
That's what I mean. We're always going to have naysayers and people that step halfway in. But we got to try to do something so that it has a lasting effect. So it's residual. We can't. But that one day thing, I love Uncle Al Sharpton, but it's not enough. One day is not going to do anything. I'm like, oh, that's fun. See, like you said, see you tomorrow. Come on. So, so I emailed it to y'all so y'all could just take a look at it and tell me what y'all think. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was telling somebody yesterday, I'm like, these folks are going to make so much money over the next 2 years.
Exactly.
It's going to be ridiculous. The stuff they're going to do to position themselves to make as much money and get as much power as possible, it's going to be something. Because here's the thing that gets me. They continue to convince working class, middle class, poor people that we are just like you.
Yes.
And for some reason, a group of them feel like they represent me, they get me. No, they don't.
Yes.
They're using you.
Yes.
And it's going to start coming, and they're going to start seeing more and more how they're being used and how they don't relate to you at all.
There is nothing commonality about 45 and the Musketeers. They are strategically for themselves, period. I mean, the most narcissistic behavior ever that I've ever seen. You saw them last week at the pen. I keep telling people, stop sending pens to the White House. No more pens can be mailed to the White House because he keeps signing everything. But he did the other day, he put through an executive order to remove paper straws, saying that plastic is the way to go because paper, not only does it bend and it break, but it could explode. What does that have to do with the economic value, the bird flu? People can't get AIDS.
Here's a suggestion too. This is just a simple finance thing. It's cheaper to cook at home.
Yes.
And you could buy some metal straws.
Come on, right?
And you
And
can do
it
what you
lasts.
want. Right. Last
Come
year.
on now. It's crazy.
Yeah,
You're
I
right.
know. I know.
It's just insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. How's my girl doing?
Oh, she's amazing.
Please tell
doing amazing things
Good.
per usual.
Good. Please tell her I said hello.
I promise you I will. We love y'all the
All right.
most.
Love
See you
too.
tomorrow.
All right. See you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye-bye. That was Ty on line 1. And I see some of the comments. I'm not against a one-day boycott. I'm just saying if you want to make real long-lasting change, it's going to be longer than one day. And here's my other thing. If you're going to boycott one company over DEI, then we need to work on all the other companies too. To me, it's kind of a little contradictory to say, let's focus on this one business while using other businesses that are doing the same thing, if not worse. I'm just like, look, I get something's a start, but let's call it like it is. You know, a lot of the platforms that people use are participating in some of the things that we're against. So let's just be fair across the board. We're gonna if you're gonna boycott, you're gonna do a boycott of a lot of businesses because they cut DEI, they do other things, etc. I'm just saying, I just think it's cool to start, but there's got to be some organization, some overall unity, and our proclivity to shop, to go do things out of convenience. We have to be able to tackle that so we can make some really big waves when it comes to this. But anyway, we have Veronica on line 6. Veronica, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good. How's your day going so far? Morning going so far?
Good. I just had a hard time tuning in, but I finally was good.
Good. Do me a favor.
Okay.
Can you turn your radio down?
I just did.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
What you got today?
Well, sitting here, I've been trying to get in touch with David Evans all week, but the devil has not allowed me to. So I have here some legal papers to be filed. It's a constitutional issue. It's an issue of blood corruption, and it should be filed because we are losing control of the government.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to, I can't say everything on the air, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I was Barack Obama's biological mother, when he was the president, right? That's the beginning of, putting us in darkness by not accepting the black mother. During that time, they used me to, the internet people, the Microsoft, Google, and all those different companies that control the internet. I had a movement for some money, a program. They took all the money from Citibank, and that's how they organized. They organized using me as a central point to, so they can use me as a point to get out of the condition that they're in with the government. And I'm the only individual who has contact, the information. I have the information and have it in such a way that it wouldn't get lost. Everything else is bureaucratic, and it gets lost in the process. And it's not saying that my papers would go through, but Trump tried to kill me when he got office. He made an assassination attempt on me. That was against the law, and he admitted to it on national television. So you have a confession right there. Am I making sense?
I'm listening to you.
Yeah. So I have all that. I have made it up. I have I don't have the legal papers made up. That's the problem. I would just go ahead and take it to the court, go put it in the court. But I need help to make sure that it just doesn't get lost. Oh. Because I filed it before when Obama was president, and they put it in administrative law. So that same administration that was able to take my stolen child and put him in the White House
Veronica.
With 4 stolen children.
Veronica.
All them kids in, huh?
Veronica, maybe this is a conversation
Yes.
we can have on the side, okay?
Okay.
All right, give us a call at the church, okay?
All right.
All right, you have a good day.
You too.
Take care. All right,
Mm-hmm.
bye-bye. Give us a call at 866-743-8267. Again, 866-743-8267. So again, if we're going to do boycott, I'm all for, making statements. I just hope that things can just be organized and long lasting, right? And understanding how to make a true impact. Because again, they will sit back and let you cry, complain, do all those things. But until their bottom line is affected long term, that's when they'll start making other decisions. That's when they'll start making other choices. So I'm not anti one day. Don't want anybody to think, I can't speak for anybody else. I'm talking about me. Anti one day. I'm just talking about, and Bishop said it last week, about us being unified in this cause and making sure that we're hitting all our marks, but also, again, not just focusing on one thing. We got to be fair across the board, because if we're going to challenge this company, we got to work on this company too. But again, our convenience, our need for convenience, and our habits get in the way of true sacrifice. Okay? They get in the way of true sacrifice. So let's just do this. And if we're going to do it, we got to do it in a good way. And I don't want to sit there and act like the civil rights movement was completely unified, because it wasn't. You had your young group that was opposed to your older group. You had issues with the women and the men. But overall, even though they had different methods, they were all working towards the same goal. And I think that's where we need that. And, some voices that are universally respected, that can take it by the helm, lead people, talk to people. And, they don't come up all the time. They're generational people. But we'll continue to do a lookout on that as individuals are choosing to go on fasting and, all that stuff from different stores and all that. But again, you got to make a decision across the board. So we're so excited about what God is doing for us here as a ministry. I'm going to give some quick announcements. We got about 7 minutes left. Tomorrow, of course, we have our 8 a.m. virtual service. 11 a.m. we'll be here in person. You want to be here for a great time as Bishop continues in his series about prayer, talking about worship. We're just believing God that souls are going to be saved tomorrow. Backsliders are going to come back. People need a church home, are going to connect with the church. Guests are going to come. We're going to see signs and wonders following them that believe, the people of God participating in worship and praise, and like wolves, all doing it together. Tomorrow at 11 a.m., meet us here. Invite somebody out. Tell them to come on. It doesn't matter if they have church clothes or not. Just get them in the building. And we're believing that when they get here, that the Spirit of God will start to work on them and start to lead them to Him. Because no one comes unless the Father draws. So we're believing, God, if you get Him in the house, that He will start doing the work. Also at 4 p.m., we're going to the Visions of God Church in Plainfield, New Jersey. That service, again, begins at 4 o'clock. Pastor Paul Dean is the pastor there. Bishop, of course, will be here preaching 11 a.m., and he'll be preaching at 4 o'clock in Plainfield. If you want to take our transportation, we're leaving at 2 p.m. to give us enough time to get to Plainfield in time. And again, tomorrow that service is at 4 p.m. There is no more football until August. So our Harvest Bookstore is open today. No football, come to church tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Harvest Bookstore is open today. You can go check them out. We have great pricing there. Books. If you're interested in receiving Bethany News updates, you can text BBC News to 28950. Again, that is 28950. To receive devotional messages, text BBC Elevate to 28950. Email your prayer requests to prayer@gotobethany.com. Our intercessory prayer team, Bishop, our staff, we pray for you all. Leadership, we pray for you all. Email your prayer requests to prayer@gotobethany.com. If you haven't done so, when you come to church, write your prayer request out, put it in the basket that's on the altar. It's stand on the altar, stand at God's feet. We're just believing that God will answer these prayers, and he's already doing so already. Some testimonies have been coming in. Also, subscribe to David G. Evans 1 as well as BBC of NJ on YouTube and Facebook and all of our platforms. Also, subscribe to DGEMS and On Point on all podcast platforms. We do this on Saturdays at 9, and then it goes into a podcast form sometime during the week. So we have Derek on line 1. Derek, how you doing, man?
I'm doing okay.
What's happening, brother?
I have to go for I have to go to surgery for spine.
Okay.
And I don't want them to make a mistake. And I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Because I'm so scared.
When do you have to go for the surgery?
At Cooper.
I mean, no, when? When is it?
It's March the 4th.
March the 4th? Okay. And you're scared for the surgery?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we are going to pray for you and believe God for you. Do us a favor when you get a chance. Call the church. Ask for Sister Faison. And make sure that, you're put on our list so we can call you, rally around, and pray for you. This is a surgery the doctors are saying you definitely need?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You're home now, or are you in the hospital now?
I'm home.
You're home? Okay. All right. So what we'll do is give her a call. Her extension is 114, okay?
Okay.
And she'll put you on a list. We'll reach out to you. We'll pray for you, all that, especially before your surgery, okay?
Okay.
If you have any challenges, call, Bishop or myself. His extension is 100. My extension is 317 here at the church, okay?
Okay.
All right?
All right.
But you're going to be good, man. We're praying
Thank
for you.
you.
We're praying for you.
Okay.
God brought you this far through the other surgeries, right?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Cool?
Okay.
All right, man.
Thank you.
No problem. Take care of yourself. All right.
You too.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. All right, we are down to the last minute and 30 seconds. I'm so glad you joined us today. And out here working this by myself, very interesting. So used to having somebody to talk to, but glad you all, those who called, those who are commented, and how we can have a variety of viewpoints without getting into conflict unnecessarily, but mature enough to talk through different topics that we may agree on, may not agree on. And guess what? It's all love and it's all cool. On behalf of Bishop David G. Evans, I want to say thank God for each and every one of you. We hope to see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Here in person. Online, it's for those who can't get here. But if you are within a good time to get here, get here. We got people driving from Maryland, New York, almost 2 hours getting here. Come on out to the house of God. There's something you can get in person when the people of God come together. And we're believing God with you and for you. And just like we said earlier, I want you to always remember God is on your side. When it feels like he's not, and when it feels like life isn't, remember nothing can separate you from his love. And if God be for you, who can be against you? So on behalf of Bishop David Evans, I'm Pastor Nick. Remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you. We'll see you next week at 9 a.m. for On Point.